Hello, my name is Angel, and welcome to or welcome back to my channel. I read 7 books in May, so I wanted to share my thoughts on them. I cried a lot this month, so I'll go over the books that made me cry or tear up and why. And instead of going in chronological order, I usually go based on when I finish the book. I thought it'd be fun to start with my favorites of the month and then just go down from there. So we are starting with the 5 star that I read this month. It is a classic. It is Mrs. Dalloway by Virginia Woolf. Mrs. Dalloway is set in London, England after World War One. We are following, well, it feels wrong to say we're following, but technically we are following Clarissa Dalloway along with others. That's why I say that. As she plans and hosts a party. So this takes place over the span of one day. The story starts with the famous line Mrs. Dalloway said she would buy the flowers herself. I'll be honest, I was intimidated to read one of Virginia Woolf's full length works. In college, I read the short story Mrs. Dalloway in Bond Street and parts of A Room of One's Own, but I never actually read a full work of hers. So I was intimidated, but also thinking it's time that I finally read this. I was surprised when I quickly became so engrossed in these characters' lives and their thoughts. I even teared up reading several different passages. I was aware of Woolf using the stream of consciousness writing technique in this, and partly that's why I was intimidated by this book. So I was reading it, I'd get engrossed in Clarissa's thoughts. And so at first, when we did switch to someone else's thoughts, I was wondering, okay, why are we in this Septimus Warren Smith's head now? It did feel a little bit jarring at first just because I wasn't used to it. This was new to me, but as you read, it flows so perfectly. This book is a tapestry. Every part works together seamlessly to make a whole. Wolf explores so many themes in this book: passage of time, love, memories, mental illness. I could go on and on. Like any good characterization, in my opinion, none of these characters are perfect. They are human. They're grappling with what it means to be human, how they treat others, how they treat themselves, how society sees them and treats them. This is definitely a book that promises something new every time you read it, so I can see myself rereading this one several times in the future, and that's why I'm giving this a perfect 5 out of 5 stars from me. The stages of life you're in, the walks you go on, society you live in, all of these things will reveal different parts of the story to me, I am sure, as I reread this. And this year was extra special for Mrs. Dalloway because it was its 100th anniversary. So next I'm just going to go ahead and get these out of the way. You all know that I have been reading these volumes every month, and this month I read 2 of them. I'm talking about The Unselected Journals of Emma M. Lyon by Beth Brower. In May, I read volumes 3 and 4, and I definitely cried reading those volumes. As the story progresses, you become so attached to these characters. It really, really expands and envelops you the more volumes you read. So I definitely recommend continuing. If in the first volume you felt like it was more of an introduction and that you didn't really care about the characters, okay, I get it, keep reading. That wasn't my experience. I loved it from the first volume, but maybe if you're having that experience, I can see why. So keep reading. These characters will attach themselves to you. You'll be thinking about them as you're going about your own day. So, yeah, I've already, spoken about what these stories are about, so I'll just briefly say again that this is a fictional story, but it's set in London in 1883, and we are following the seasons of Emma M. Lyon's life. These are her journals, and she has moved back to her town, her neighborhood in London, St. Crispian's. We're seeing her interact with the people there, town, and also make her own way in life. Emma is just a lovely character to follow. She's resilient, she is funny, and I really appreciate seeing that. I love all of the interaction she has with everyone. This series makes me laugh. Now it's made me cry. If you have read volume 4, you know what I'm talking about, but I just, oh my goodness. I believe it was volume 3 that I was laughing out loud so many times. There's a hunt for these tickets that is just absolutely hilarious. They also have this kind of melancholy to them. It really resonates with me, at least. Some situations that Emma's having to face that she shouldn't have to, or just how the general society treats women. also some conversations about war and its impact on society. So I really love this series. You'll see me continue reading the volumes. There's 8 out right now, and on Beth Brower's Instagram, she did just announce audiobooks. So if you are an audiobook person, definitely pick up this series. So yeah, both volumes of those I gave 4 out of 5 stars. I really, really enjoyed this series, and I cannot wait to pick up volume 5. Okay, so next we're going to talk about a weird little book that I had on my spring TBR. This is Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata. And I am happy to say I really like this book. I read it in a day. It's super short and super easy to read. This is translated from the Japanese, and it's been on my TBR for a few years now. I just wasn't picking it up. I have no clue why. I am so happy I read this book. This is it's funny but in a weird way, like not a typical funny, and that's a lot and that's because of our main character here. She is different. She does not fit into society. She has worked at the same grocery store for years and years and years. Everyone thinks she's weird because she is at the age where everyone is getting married and having children and doing more, well, having a career. Or if they have children, they're staying at home while their husband works. Kiko has had a difficult time interacting with people, socializing, and she loves the convenience store because she knows her script, what to say, how to interact with people, what her expectations are throughout the day. And she has gotten so good at this job that she feels the rhythms of the store, and that's where she feels most at home. Things get shaken up when a new person is hired, and he's also seen as weird, but he's more on the creepy side, so some things happen there. And yeah, it's really just an exploration of our main character, Kiko, and society's pressures. While kind of depressing, it also has funny moments and really asks you to appreciate our main character and her quirks and recognize that not everyone is the same or has to play the same role in a society. Again, I really like this one. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Next book I want to talk about is Pirates by Celia Reese. This is a adventure book, of course. Pirates is in the title. Read this for a pirate reading vlog, and I really, really like this one. This one is following Nancy Kington. She is an heiress. Her parents have passed away, and her father had owned a plantation. And we are following Nancy as she is put in this position. She's put in an arranged marriage. Expectation as the woman of the family is to keep money in the family and make alliances where she can. She feels all this pressure and she flees with her slave, Minerva Sharp, and they become pirates. So, this is the story of that. I love the voice of the story, I loved how it was framed. Nancy is telling us, the readers, what happened. I loved there is romance in this book. This is a YA book, by the way, so nothing explicit. This is a YA book, and it's fitting because of our characters' ages, though I think adults can definitely enjoy this book. It's fun. There is romance as well, but all of that is overshadowed by the beautiful relationship between Nancy and Minerva. I love the friendship. They are always looking out for each other. Nancy just has this deep appreciation for Minerva. It's also it feels real and human because Nancy's not great at everything. She recognizes that she's not. So her and Minerva really play off each other. They help each other. When one doesn't know what to do, the other one steps up and helps. And I just loved Minerva's resilience as well, and how when they become pirates, she refuses to be made to feel less than or anything like that. There is also a thrilling aspect because Nancy feels the whole time that she is being hunted. I really enjoyed this pirate story, and I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. In May, it really weighed on me how many books I had on my shelf that I have not picked up yet. So I gravitated towards another one that's just been sitting on my shelf for years, and that is Home is Not a Country by Sophia El Hio. This is a book written in verse and blurb by Elizabeth Acevedo, who wrote The Poet X, and I love that book. Another book like Convenience Store Woman that I read in a day does not change its impact. This is a very impactful story, and I definitely love that it was written in verse. Our main character, Nima, does not feel like she fits in. She is an immigrant and she has faced bullying, but also with her mother working all the time. She doesn't feel like she belongs anywhere, not even as her mother's daughter. She is imagining this other girl. Her mother had two names that she was in between choosing, and she went with Nima. But Nima is imagining this other girl. What if she had another name? What if the other girl is the perfect one who would fit in and have this identity more aligned with the land that she came from? There's this exploration of identity and belonging. It definitely picks up near the end of the story with more of like a supernatural element, but at the end of the day, a very beautiful story about making a home. The title is very fitting. Nima feels like if she could just go back to the country that her parents had, that her mother had brought her from, she would feel at home in her body, but she comes to realize that that's not the case. The back says, I imagine her, this other girl, bright and alive, and I ache to have been born her instead. A solid story. I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. And the last book I want to talk about this month is really the only dud out of every book I read in May, so that's great, and I still gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Pirate Latitudes by Michael Crichton. This is a classic adventure tale. It is set in the Caribbean, 1665, and we are following Captain Charles Hunter as he sets out on this adventure to capture Spanish gold from a warship at a fort where it's a pretty heavily guarded fort, and in the past, a crew had tried to overtake it and failed. So there's this element of, are they going to be able to take it this time and get this warship that they're after? In the opening, we get to see a lot of the town, Port Royal, and how it's still rowdy even though it's an English colony. Then we get the adventure on the seas and what comes after that. I did not. This one is very plot heavy. It's just one thing after another. I didn't have any connection to any of the characters, not even our main character, Charles Hunter. There were some parts where something would be mentioned, like a big fight in the past or someone close to him having died in a brutal way, and there was just no emotional impact. It felt like no. So while the plot is fast moving, for me it didn't hit the same because I'm a character driven person. I need to be emotionally invested, and I was not at any point in this story. There were moments of suspense, but that wasn't enough to boost this rating. And then, I know the Kraken is an essential part of pirate lore, but it just felt like another, oh, here's another adventure scene in this already slam packed adventure story that I don't think we needed. I would have preferred a more emotional take, like maybe what the Kraken means to the pirates and to the sea, but that wouldn't have even fit in the story because it is just an action book. So this one just wasn't great to me. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. I liked it. I did have fun reading it, just like I do watching an adventure movie, but I won't be rereading this one or thinking about this one after putting this down. Those are all of the books I read in May. Overall, a great reading month. I enjoyed most of them. I hope that you all had a great reading month as well. Share your favorites in the comments down below. I'd love to chat with you about them. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!